So one thing that I did want to talk about, and you said the D'Amelios, and you were shocked that they made it as far as they did, and you got to see the games. I didn't
Oh
get to
yeah,
see
yeah.
the games play out. I just got to see the outrage on social media after the event, and then some of the conversations that I had to have, and then obviously Jimmy tweeting. So, what was your perspective sitting at home? Obviously, we had a few people that had more than one. I can talk about why
Yeah.
we had that. But what was like your perspective? Because they met each other, right? Matt, Pat, and Steph played against the D'Amelios, and I
Yeah.
would arguably say that Matt and Steph, to me, were the favorites outside of Mark Rober, who completely whiffed on
Yeah.
Gangnam Style. But Matt and Steph were definitely the favorites in the show.
Yeah, and for the people who like maybe didn't watch, the controversy was around uh, pretty much the format was trivia, and it was for the most part 1v1, where it's like one creator versus another. There were several groups that like Matt, Pat, and Staff and Yes Theory that had two people with them, and then D'Amelios actually had the entire family, so it was the four of them. And so there was a controversy around like, is
Yep.
this is it actually a real win if they had four people working together on the trivia questions? I personally like that didn't even really like, I don't know, that didn't phase me at all. I was just like, okay, like it's still really difficult to answer these questions, and I guess technically you can say there's an advantage if you have four people there, but for the most part it seemed like Dixie was like really carrying it anyways, and they even admitted it. Like they're like, Dixie's answering almost all of these. Like the actually the one part that really stuck out to me was when Dixie, like they asked the pie question. I don't know if you were able to see
Yeah.
that, but like Dixie wrote down like 6 digits of pi, and I was like, okay, like she just carried this like single handedly. And so
Yeah.
I
Yep.
don't think it was as controversial from my perspective, but I'd love for like from your perspective, like,
Yeah.
do you think it was unfair? Do you think it was controversial that they won?
Yeah, so Jimmy and I wanted the D'Amelio family involved, right? They do mostly everything as a family. And so we thought that dynamic in the creator games would be awesome for people to see. Just like Matt, Pat, and Steph, and Yes Theory, we probably could have brought a few other people in, with a few other creators, but we didn't go that deep into it, right? It wasn't like we had a lot of thought behind this. But I will say the D'Amelios did play against everyone that had an extra person, right? I believe they beat Yes Theory. And then they went on to beat Matt and Steph at one of the questions, like you had originally said, was she did, I believe, 12 digits of pi. She deserves to win just on that alone. 12
Yeah,
digits. She beat Matt on
yeah,
digits
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
pi.
which is
And then
crazy.
she also beat him on guessing how many jelly beans were in that jar. And Jimmy gave, I believe he gave the dimensions of the jar to Matt. And so we thought, like, we're like, oh, this is like such a given for him. Like, he's going to be able to calculate how many are in this jar. And she got that question over him. And then at the end, like, we just thought it was fair to do a 1v1. We're like, listen, they've made it this far. They beat out who we thought were the favorites. And now let's do Dixie versus ZHC for the championship, 1v1 for who gets to win. And she killed it. Now, Zach did guess that there was 80,000 popes, which was a little bit of a miss. But Dixie and the family wholeheartedly deserve to win. If you can guess 12 digits of pi and beat Matt Pat at that question, you deserve to win the creator games.
I completely agree. I didn't like the 1v1 at the end should have like, solved all of that. And there shouldn't have been any
Yeah.
controversy after that, right? Like the pizza question, the Pope question, like she won like fair and square. And to me, like I didn't even see the controversy. Like I think the controversy really just rose because people were just like upset that their favorite creator didn't win, right? Like once Dream is out, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
like it's like, oh no, like they only won because they have four people, but I just don't think that's the truth. Like they did a great job, and yeah, I mean, I thought it was awesome, like what they were able to do.
Yeah, and people also need to remember this money's going back to subscribers, right? Like they're not pocketing any of this cash. So let's end up seeing like what they do, and what maybe they give it to a charity, maybe they give it back to their fans in some different trivia way. Like I don't know what they're gonna do yet. If it was a cash prize going to the winner in like we are actually paying out, maybe Jimmy and I would have paid more attention. But this was all for fun. This was for the subscribers. This wasn't for them. And again, and I'll say this, as many times as I have to, like Dixie answering that pie question, like that family deserved to win. So I understand why people think it's unfair, because there is 4 people sitting on a couch. But the creators that they went up against and beat, and the questions that they had to answer to win, and then the 1v1 against DHC at the end, that should be it. End of discussion. And I'm happy for them, and I can't wait to see what they do with the money.